I didn't believe in Allah until I met the devil. Wait, what? All right, let's have a look at this story.
Out of everything in life that you can be and all these paths that you can choose, the last thing I thought I would be in life is religious. And I don't mean like spiritual or just believe in God in general. I mean actually religious. I was fully atheist. Now, I was raised in a Christian household, but I myself was atheist when I got out of that. And because all the negatives I saw within the Christian church, I just turned my back on religion and God in general. And what's really fascinating about that is the devil kind of hid for me. The shaitan, evil, these kind of things, they hid. They went into silence. They tried to not exist. Whereas God was always there, but I was just not looking. I wasn't paying attention, and to be fair, I was kind of ignoring it. And
you know, it's like interesting, like the way he says how his story started with like that he saw like a lot of negatives in church. There's actually a basic principle for bringing up children in each religion, right? And we Muslims, we must be very, 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 very careful with that. And I'm giving now a good advice to parents out there, especially those that live in the West. If you want your children to become religious and righteous individuals that worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and pray 5 times, you need to be the best role model that you can be in your religion for your child. Why? Because just like he says, if you grow up, right, and you see like a lot of negatives coming from your religion, right, or you're not like the role model, you're like sinning a lot, you're a very sinful individual, you neglect the 5 prayers, for example, as a Muslim, then your child will see your behavior, and the chances of your child becoming religious later on is decreasing by your example. If you're not a good example for your child, like what should your child learn? There's like a lot of kufr around, right? Especially in the West, right? So the fitna is huge. You need to literally arm your children with knowledge. If you don't give them knowledge, they're very vulnerable here. So to teach Islamic knowledge and be a good role model from a young age is very, very important, especially growing up in the West.
I was never religious, and I didn't believe in God until I saw the devil. Now, not believing in God until you meet the devil isn't random. And I remember speaking to somebody, I wouldn't call him a friend, but somebody I'd met. And he was a Christian, and he was telling me about Jesus and his faith. And I was hearing what he was saying, but I wasn't really listening. And I told him, I was like, look, I don't believe in both. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in the devil. And he responded that the devil's all around us, and how could I not see it? Now, he was correct, but it was kind of hiding from me, and I think it hides from people as well. And I told him that if I ever met the devil, I would have to believe in God, and me and the devil would have some serious problems. Because if I were to see one, that means both is true. And if both is true, that means I have to pick a side, and it's pretty obvious the side you're going to pick. Now, initially through my studies, I thought everybody had it backwards because of Christianity, the Christian perspective on God and Jesus and in hell and heaven. And because of the manipulation within the Christian Bible due to Constantine, it really made it seem like God is evil. Isaiah 45:7, I believe that's the correct verse, I don't have it in front of me, where the Christian Bible claims God is evil. God creates evil and makes evil.
Wait, let me read that for you guys. I form the light and create darkness, peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. Okay, yeah, I've actually come across this too, yeah. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. But yeah, I mean, it just makes sense. Like, okay, we're not like. Okay, so in Islam, we believe that every creation that you can find, even from like a piece of dust, no matter what it is, be it the angels, be it the jinn, be it the humans, like everything that was ever created and existed or exists is because Allah created it, right? And this is like, yeah, there's like a similarity here, right?
Evil happen. Now we understand God created everything, but as far as makes happen, that is due to Iblis or the shaitan. And that's just one verse, for example. There's many places within the Christian Bible where they have injected Mithraism for Christians to follow the sun god Mithras. This is a completely different conversation. I'll break it down one day. And this is what led me into the occult in the first place, is it just seemed like everybody had it backwards. Now I do believe Christianity in different places of the country or different places of the planet are going to be completely opposite of this. But the churches I was raised around and saw were not good people. These were evil people, embezzlement, they were selling and trading substances back and forth, and everything I've seen was just bad. And so this is the main reason why I picked up the Lesser Key of Solomon and started studying the occult in the first place. So one day I decided just to jump into it. Things were kind of standing out to me. I was kind of getting pulled in this direction, and that's when I did my first ritual. Now I'm not going to go into the details of the ritual because it's completely irrelevant, but I got experiences on the first one. There's something required in every single ritual to make it work, and thankfully most people have it wrong. Most people don't know what this thing is, and I will never say.
His Dravon story is actually interesting. He called on jinn and stuff, right? And then he saw, oh, there must be a creator behind all that, because if I can call on a jinn, then who created the jinn, right? Okay, I see. That's actually a fascinating story. I'm actually glad we came across this. Let's actually watch the rest of it.
Is, and I will never say what it is, but just by chance I put that thing in this ritual, and so the experiences were insane. Now I wasn't a full believer when I did this, so keep this in mind. I didn't fully believe in anything whatsoever. I was still fairly atheist, and that's why I didn't care.
Even though you had results,
because I didn't fully believe in anything, and I wasn't even sure it was going to work in the first place. I was pretty doubtful, but I was open-minded and willing to give it a shot and see what comes out of this. Well, of course, it got an insane reaction. And that's where I felt panic mixed with curiosity, because one side of it was like, oh crap, I summoned a demon. What did I do? Was this wrong? Now, today I understand this is jinn, but I was questioning myself, did I do something really bad? What is going to come out of this? Is it going to be bad?
So
and then the curiosity side mixed in. It's like, okay, can we do this again? And can we replicate it? And then what kind of results can we get by doing that? And so naturally, I just kept poking the bear. My curiosity got the best of me. I started diving in with different things. Now, thankfully, I didn't branch out much and start poking at everything in existence. There's some practitioners that like to play spiritual Pokemon, and they want to go after every spirit possible and try to have a connection with literally everything. I wasn't one of those people. I stuck to a few things and tried to get in really deep with them. But even still to this day, even speaking out against...
I don't want to scare no people, but weren't there people that did such summons and the next day they were no longer on this earth, literally, some bad fate happened to them? Is this also dangerous, right? I heard some stories about certain individuals, and I don't want to share this here, right? But I read something online before about someone that did some kind of rituals, and he wasn't found alive the next day. Yeah.
Try to get in really deep with them. But even still to this day, even speaking out against this, people still ask me how to do this all the time. And I want people to understand, I'm never going to explain this. I'm not going to tell you the missing pieces from most people's rituals. 99% of people, their rituals are pointless, and they're never going to work. And I'm never going to teach how to do this.
No,
Every
don't do
ritual
this. It's
you
haram.
ever do comes at a cost. There is so many hoops you have to jump through, so many things you have to give to the jinn just to get any kind of result. And then the result you do get out of this is going to be one-sided. It's going to be so temporary, and it's going to be taken away from you, and then you're going to have to do another ritual. And my biggest question in those people, because I still have some practitioners watching these videos, my biggest question is, if rituals worked, if they were truly effective and you gained something out of it, why are people doing rituals for 40 years? Why are they doing rituals for 30
Not
years?
just
Why
once.
are they doing it at all? If rituals seriously worked and these occult practices weren't one-sided, why do people have to continuously do them over and over and over again? If they worked, your protection ritual would protect you permanently. Your money rituals would grant you money forever. Your love rituals, you would get married immediately and it would never divorce. These things don't work. They are one-sided, they are temporary, and you are going to lose. There's no way to win. You can't negotiate with the jinn. But that being said, I made that promise that day whenever I was talking to that individual, that if the devil ever showed himself to me, he made a big mistake, because that means he's real. And there's this big quote in the West, people might have it in other countries too, where they say that the biggest trick the devil ever played was that he hid that he existed, or something along those lines. And for a long time, I never understood this quote. I didn't believe it. I was like, what? He just hid himself? That's not a trick. That's not fooling anybody whatsoever.
I mean, that makes sense what he's saying, right? If you really would see the devil, you would know God exists, right? That makes just sense, right? Oh, I met Shaitan, so now I know I'm on the haq. Being a Muslim is the truth. Why? Because I saw Shaitan, right? That actually makes sense, because let's just assume something, okay? So let's say, okay, so we have signs, major signs of the Day of Judgment, right? out of a river will be like a lot of gold coming, right? If that happens and you see it now on the TV screen, right? And you're a Muslim and people around you were always saying, you're not on the truth, look at you. You have like fairy tales in your Quran, the hadiths and this and that. Oh, look, this is not true. And then suddenly the river actually gives a lot of gold suddenly, right? And you're like, oh, it's all in the news, like this is worth billions of dollars and it was just found, it just suddenly came from a river and there's like a mountain full of gold now or something, right? And then people are like, yo, he's on the truth. Or if suddenly like Gog and Juj and Majuj suddenly appear, right? Like Juj and Majuj suddenly appear and you're like, oh, Juj and Majuj, yo, they are actually real. Yo, Islam is the truth. And this is the same what he's like trying to say here, right? Like if you meet the devil, if you meet Shaitan, you know Islam is the truth. Just like if Juj and Majuj suddenly appear, right? Or there's like a lot of gold coming from a river and stuff. Like those are signs, and if something big happens and they get confirmed, now you can actually also use this as a big dawah opportunity, right? Like not only that, but It is for those people around you also that said you are not on the truth, because now you can show them, oh, did you not see yesterday what it said in the news? Suddenly Juj and Majuj appeared or something, right? For example. Like, yeah, so this is a major sign of, God exists if you meet the devil.
I was like, what? He just hid himself? That's not a trick. That's not fooling anybody whatsoever. People know the devil exists. Now today I understand. I understand fully, because if people are aware that the devil is real, they're not going to fall for the bullshit. They're going to go towards God. They're going to go towards the Quran. They're going to find true faith. Now, I also want everybody to keep in mind that everybody's on their own path. For me, this is what it took. It took me to see the devil, to realize God was real and was right there the entire time.
It's a sign.
And it's because I went through every single other faith and studied all these different religions where I know the Quran is true. I can confidently stand by the Quran and I can never look away from it. And this is due to my curiosity and leading into darkness and leading into the wrong path and falling on my face over and over again is how I can fully say with confidence that the Quran is the truth. But I'm not sure, and I don't think anybody will ever know, if I was able to achieve the same result without going through all that failure. Was I able to just pick up the Quran and embrace it initially, or did I have to go through all this? Now, the reason why I'm talking about this is so more people can understand. As we get closer to November, we're going to be seeing more people do the same thing.
Everything happens for a reason,
as things get darker, as things get more challenging, as the division gets greater, as the darkness gets blacker, we're going to see more people realize where the light is. And more people that you may think are off the deep end may turn around very quickly. And I've been seeing this through my own experiences.
So many
just
people
going
are
out in
reverting
society.
recently.
You're seeing people open their eyes. You're seeing people come to the light a lot more than usual. In my situation isn't uncommon. There was nothing unique about what I went through. And it's no surprise that we live in a pivotal point of history, but we are about to see a lot of people wake up.
Yeah. No, he's right about that. Like these days, so many people are accepting Islam. Like Islam is the fastest growing religion on earth. Like even here in Germany, like yesterday I went shopping and I went to a supermarket here. And I remember like a couple of years ago, I would go to the supermarket, and when I'm inside the supermarket, I was like one or two women with the hijab, for example, right? And there were like few Muslims in that store. Now today, yesterday I went to the store and there were more than 20 people that were Muslim. Like so many sisters with hijab, like brothers that I also recognized from seeing them before around and stuff. So Islam is growing a lot. We have a new masjid in my city. In my city, there was no masjid for years. I always had to drive to the other city, right? And then I heard in the other city nearby to me, there's also a new masjid. So even here in Germany, Islam is growing a lot, but also in like other European countries, and more people are waking up to the truth. And yeah, may Allah keep Dravon steadfast and firm on the deen. Ameen. And yo, it's actually like he said earlier, like, was it necessary for him to go through that, like the summoning rituals, do this and that, and go astray to find the truth? And like in my personal experience, like it's often people that first go astray that find the truth. Like you don't just grow up as a child and you become an adult, and you don't get confronted by temptations, or you're not going to be led astray first before you find the truth. Like, the only exception is if you really come from like a family of like true practicing Muslims, of maybe like a family where your father is an imam, or like you have like people that really practice the deen and they teach you a lot from a young age. Like, those are exceptions. You could say like exception, for example, are the children of the Sahabas radiallahu anhum, because they had role models from day one on this planet, right? But people like myself or Dravon, they have to go astray first. They need to enter a lifestyle of sin or something, right? To actually realize, yo, I'm in the wrong, or does God exist, right? Like, you need to start to question your own existence. You need to question the world. You need to question the actions of others, and think and search, and then you find the truth. And this is what happens to people like myself and Dravon. We go astray first, and through that we find the truth. And this is essential for like a lot of people, especially before they become Muslim. And this increases your iman, because if you know you went wrong, or you were doing something like he did, right, with like summoning jinn and stuff, and then you had like results, or something bad happened, then you realize, yo, I need to turn my life around, and I need to find the truth. I need to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then if you do that, like he says, he will never leave Islam, right? He says he's so firm on his conviction, he will stay a Muslim always, because he's so convinced. And this is how I feel too, and how like a lot of people feel that revert to Islam, especially those that have been searching for years for it, or that maybe had like a certain past, right? Like, some people are saying, oh, people that are reverts, be it sisters or brothers, they're so good and so strict on the deen, this and that. And that doesn't come because people grow up with like a lot of knowledge. No, like, it's not because of the knowledge, it's because of the experience, basically, right? Because that makes you strong in something. Like, if you know you're wrong and you feel guilt or you feel shame for your past, you're not gonna try to go back to that past. But if you never had that past, and you're like innocent from day one, and you don't have like any form of tawbah or regret or something, it is more easy to actually go into that direction. I know this is like a horrible example now, okay? I don't like to make this example, but let me, guys, give you a very, very, very extreme example, okay? And this individual, in more than 90% of the case, will not do this again. Now imagine you're a guy, you're married, and you have a wife with a young child, and you end up cheating on your wife. Now your wife is leaving you together with your kid, and you barely see your kid, and you need to pay money now every month, and you're really regretful of this. Now you meet a nice sister, perhaps, yeah, and you marry her. The next marriage, you have like maybe a young child again. Now you know what bad was in your past. Now in your second marriage, you're gonna be even more careful, because maybe you feel pain because you even lost the contact to your first child, right? So what I'm saying is, like, people that have like a horrible past experience, or maybe a woman was doing like a very wild lifestyle, right? Maybe she even got like almost once beaten to death by a guy or something, and then she becomes religious, and then she suddenly appreciates something, or someone was abused or something like that. Like, if you have a horrible past, or you were astray, and then you find the light, the truth, you're more firm and strong on it, because you know what was bad in your past. You feel regret, right? And he said himself at the beginning, he saw like bad in Christianity, then he got like confused, and he got into the occult, he was like summoning jinn, and then he saw that he even talked about it to others that are summoners, right? That it's just temporarily you end up losing. For example, you do this for marriage, you end up losing your spouse. You do this for money, you're rich for a moment, then you broke again, and this and that. Like, those are all negative experiences people are going through, and if they from these experiences find the truth, they are more strict and more like firm on the truth, because they have a past. So yeah, may Allah keep Dravon firm and strong on the deen. Ameen. May Allah protect us from temptations. Ameen. And yeah, if you guys are new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more content. If you guys enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. And I will see you guys next time, inshallah.